Hi, I'm Tina from Prep 101. In this video, I'm going to show you a review of fractions. We're going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions, multiplying and dividing fractions, as well as reducing fractions. All of these will be used throughout the course. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in our review of fractions is we're going to do adding and subtracting. So if we're adding and subtracting fractions, we need to have a common denominator. So let's give an example here. If we have 2/3 plus 3/4, we have to look at those two fractions and say, okay, what common denominator could we use? Well, we could use 3 times 4. And so 3 times 4 is 12. So we'll put them both over 12. And then what we have to do is say, well, what number do we multiply this 3 by to get to this 12? And 3 times 4 is 12. So we do the top times 4. 2 times 4 would then be 8. Here we've got 4 times what is 12, so 4 times 3. So 3 times 3 would be 9. So our answer then, since they're both over 12, now we can add the numerators or the tops, and 9 and 8 adds up to 17, and the bottom stays the same, 17 twelfths. You don't have to put anything into mixed numbers in this course, you just have to know how to write it as a fraction here called an improper fraction when the top is bigger than the bottom. So number 2, 3/7 plus 1/3. So here, what would your common denominator be? Well, 7 times 3 here would be 21. So we take the 7 and we say 7 times what is 21? 7 times 3 is 21. So 3 times 3 here would be 9. And then the bottom, 3 times what takes you to 21? 3 times 7. So 1 times 7 on the top would be 7. And then we keep the denominator the same, 21, and add the numerators. So 9 plus 7 would be 16, and the answer is 16 out of 21. Okay, number 3. We're going to now multiply fractions. So when we multiply fractions, it's a little easier. We don't need a common denominator. We just multiply the top, and then we multiply the bottoms. So here, if we took a half times 4/5, we would do 1 times 4 all over 2 times 5. 1 times 4 would, of course, be 4. 2 times 5 would be 10. So 4/10 is our answer. Now, you'll always have to reduce your fractions. It's pretty rare that they leave it unreduced. So we would divide the top and bottom by a number that we can divide by the same number on the top and bottom without getting any decimals. So we can divide them both by 2. They both are even numbers, so they divide by 2 evenly. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 here would be 5. So our answer would be 2/5. And one more example of multiplying. If we had 2/7 times 1/3, for example, then we'd have 2 times 1 on the top over 7 times 3 on the bottom. 2 times 1 would be 2, and 7 times 3 would be 21. So that's multiplying fractions. Now, dividing is a little bit trickier. So when we want to divide fractions, well, we keep the first fraction the same, and we multiply by what we call the reciprocal of the second fraction. The reciprocal means that you're going to flip the second one. So if we have, let's say, 3/4 divided by 1/3, we would leave the 3/4 alone. We would switch the divide to multiply, and we would flip the 1/3 to 3 over 1. So we would get 3 times 3 over 4 times 1. And 3 times 3 here would be 9. And 4 times 1 would be 4. And one more example of that. If we had 3/5 divided by 2/3, well, what would be your first step here? Well, we should get 3/5 times, flip the second fraction, so 3 over 2. So we get 3 times 3 over 5 times 2, and 3 times 3 here would be 9, and 5 times 2 would be 10. And so that's what we get for dividing fractions. The next thing we can do is reducing fractions. And so reducing, we want to divide the top and bottom by the same number so that we can make it smaller. And it has to be the same number that you divide by on the top and bottom. So for example, if we had 22 out of 24, then both of these are even, so we could divide by 2. And so 22 divided by 2 would be 11, and 24 divided by 2 would be 12. Number 8, let's say we had 34 over 36. What can you divide these by? Well, we can divide 34 by 2, and we can divide 36 by 2. So 34 divided by 2 would be 17, and 36 divided by 2 would be 18. And let's do a couple more. So 30 over 36. What could we divide this one by to reduce it? Well, they're both even, so we could divide by 2, but if we do that, we won't be done, and then we'll have to divide by 3. So if you notice that it divides by 6, you can do that right at the start. So 30 divided by 6 here would be 5, and 36 divided by 6 would be 6. And let's do one more. How about 20 out of 25? What could you do to divide that to reduce it? Well, we could divide by 5. So 20 divided by 5 would be 4, and 25 divided by 5 would give us 5. And I'm just going to show you one more question that will come up in Unit 2 when we get to probability, when we're multiplying through trees. So an example of a question we might get might be 1/3 times 2/4 plus 2/3 times 3/4. So we might get something like that from a tree, and so we have to know how to simplify it. So this would be 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 3 would be 6, 3 times 4 is 12, and so we'll end up with 2 plus 6 is 8 over 12. And then we can divide by, what would you divide by here to reduce? Well, we could divide by 2, but then we'd have to do it again. So we could divide by 4 at the start and be done quicker. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now, if you want to divide by 2 and then divide by 2 again, that's totally fine. You get the same answer. I hope you found this video helpful. If so, see more videos in this playlist. Don't forget to join the Facebook Study Hub. Use the link in the video description box. Also, I hope to see you at my prep sessions, where I'll show you lots of tricks on how to ace your exam. I'll go through every problem that you need to solve, and you'll solve them with confidence by the end of my prep sessions. Many of our prep sessions are free, so go to prep101.com now for more details and to sign up. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.